Good morning and a beautiful Wednesday to you. As always, this is Atlantic Blowout on Atlantic Television Network. Welcome back. And like I said, we have amazing guests with us here at the studio. And he is no other than Comrade Imabe Oscar Xavier. He is a national president of the South-South Youth Initiative. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning,
Rivers people.
Good morning. Good morning. And like I said, let's go to our news in details. We have that the operatives of the Anambra State Police Command have arrested 2 members of an armed robbery syndicate allegedly enforcing illegal sit-at-home orders in the state. The arrest took place on Monday in the Nkwele Izunaka 33 area around 10 a.m. following a joint operation by the police and Anambra vigilante operatives. In a statement on Tuesday, the state police spokesperson Tochukwu Ikenga said police led anti-sit-home joint patrol with Anambra vigilante operatives on 25th of November by 10 a.m. bust a notorious criminal gang of 3 in Ikwele Izunaka 3 area, arrested the suspects and declared the other popularly known as Akada wanted over armed robbery on illegal possessions of firearm and enforcement of illegal sit-at-home. The suspects, identified as Chinedu Ama and Prince Wogo, were apprehended during a hot chase after a victim raised an alarm about being robbed at gunpoint. Ikenga added, the operatives recovered 1 English-made pistol and other incriminating items. The suspects include 1 Chinedu Ama and Prince Wogo, all males and residents in Nkwele Izunaka. In a press statement, Ikenga noted that the arrest followed a gun duel with the gang. The joint security operative arrested the suspects after engaging in the gang in a gun duel. The police acted on credible information and demobilized the gang members by responding swiftly to the planned activities of the notorious gang in the area, he stated. I'd love to get your thoughts, Mr. Oscar. You know, before recently, before now, not recently, it's been on and on about the sit-at-home in the Southeast. And then yesterday, we actually talked about the issue that has been going on in Anambra State and some unknown gunmen enforcing the sit-at-home order and using force on the people, sometimes destroying their properties and killing people. And then we have here that the police has arrested the 2 suspects going on in this particular order. What is your thoughts about this?
I think most times when an action overstays an action, it becomes useless. It becomes also a bad one to the people. Considering the level or the purpose for that particular action. Initially, I'm one of those persons that was in support of this particular action because once it's also good that why we are considering the fact that we need a transparent system of political administration, we also want a situation whereby others will feel the impact of a positive system of governance. If you are doing to A and you're also not doing to Party B, Party A won't be happy. Nnamdi Kanu has been under detention for a very long time now. And unfortunately, I will use the word unfortunately, the other agitators from the Yoruba aspect has been released. And then this same person is still under detention, even when the other person has been released. It sends a bias. It means that government is being biased, the government is not being transparent, and the government is also not looking at governance beyond sentimental issues, regional or tribal issues. And that is our setback at this point in time, because we find ourselves in a system where governance has become so much more like a tribalistic system. The Yoruba, the Hausa, the Igbos, they are thinking of, oh, it's our turn. It's now turn by turn. Of course, I won't blame the Igbos if they are working hard to get their own turn, because the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, made it look like it's a turn-by-turn thing, just like he used that as a strategy for his campaign. It is my turn.
Okay,
going by
quickly,
what is
let
going
me
on,
cut you short. Quickly, you said you will not blame this unknown gunman, allegedly unknown gunman, for trying to, enforce their rights by putting the sit-at-home order in the states because of their leader, Nnamdi Kanu, that has been detained for a long time and they refused to be released. And I wanted to ask, is it that the means they are using to enforce this order is the right thing? Because like I said earlier, they have been destroying properties. They have been killing innocent people. We've had cases where sometimes the most indigents that open up their stores on Monday, they come in there and then they destroy their properties. Students no longer go to schools on Monday. Are you trying to say that this means that they've been using to enforce this order to be heard by the government is the right approach?
Well, the both parties are to be blamed. We are to blame government, and we are as well to blame the agitators because of the way they are going about it. You might be having a very good intention. You might have a very good intention, but then the way you carried out your intention or the way you actually took your decision determines if people will join you or will stay away from you. At this point, the government has to be blamed. Then the agitators there also have to be blamed. I am one of those persons that have been affected negatively because of this sit-at-home. I've been affected in so many ways. I can remember back then when I was opportune, or when I used to be using road transport system to Abuja and to Lagos and all of that. And I also remember vividly there was a particular day I was along somewhere like Enugu. Was it Enugu Road? That's Obolafo. We're heading towards Obolafo, or we just left Obolafo, between the boundary of Obolafo and Benue. Then we decided that, the driver said we can no longer follow that particular route, and decided to use the Delta route because they were avoiding the sit-at-home order. And the information we gathered while we were in the vehicle that day, because I wasn't fortunate to go by air, the information we gathered that day was because, one, that some of the boys or some of the women that was traveling from Abuja back to Port Harcourt were actually held, they were catched or haunted by these same men and was taken to a particular bolo pit that is within that roadside. And somebody was actually explaining or expressing his ordeal about what happens, and God helped him to escape. That aspect of it is totally condemnable and not acceptable. Using it to intimidate your fellow commoners, because we are fellow commoners, using it to intimidate your fellow persons on the street is not acceptable, it's condemnable. I think if you want to do an agitation, you must do an agitation in a very non-violent, peaceful manner. I have carried out protests in several ways in Port Harcourt and Abuja, another part of the state. And I've carried out those protests in a very peaceful manner. Properties weren't destroyed, and we did not actually leave what we came for and do something else. The Ogoni issue has also been non-violent, and at this point, it also gets some level of achievement or achievables. So I think if you want to look at it from the days of, well, if Ojukwu was still alive, he won't order that this kind of situation should be like this, because I remember vividly well that Ojukwu and Ken Saro-Wiwa, in as much as they have their agitations on then, it was not this level of violence. So I want to appeal and I call on the attention of those agitators, those enforcing the sit-at-home, that in a way they are going about it in the wrong way to actually make life difficult and unbearable for their fellow citizens and their fellow Igbos. But then government is also not to be praised. Government is also not to be appreciated for actually trying the best they can to have released, I've forgotten the name of this Yoruba man that have been released recently by Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So what stopped you from releasing Nnamdi Kanu? Yes, we are all agitators. I am an agitator. Nnamdi Kanu is an agitator.
Talking about Nnamdi Kanu being an agitator, we've had a case where Nnamdi Kanu openly said that he is no longer putting this to them, that he's asking them to stop this agitation and the sit-at-home order. He has said that, yes, I know that you are fighting for me. I know that you are doing this in my favor. You are doing this because you want the government to pay attention to you. But in as much as you're doing this, it is not with my consent. He has withdrawn his her authority over it. So it's no longer on Nnamdi Kanu that he is the reason why they are doing this.
His statements from the prison doesn't count and won't be taken serious. I am a leader of several organizations, okay? I'm the national president of South Youth Initiative, and as well, the spokesman Movement for the Survival of Ogoni People, MOSOP. Now, at this point in time, I believe that just like I am today, if any of my leaders or any of the Ogoni stakeholders that have actually fought for the rights of the indigenous people and fight for the emancipation of the Ogoni people to actually regain their freedom and also have a voice in the society, and especially the fight of Kesawa, the right of the indigenous people. When Kesawa was arrested, when others were also taken to the prison, of course, you don't expect the people to keep quiet. Now, if maybe I got arrested, just like the days of Yesom Wike, that we were not very comfortable with his administration and all of that, and we were always on the media to say, enough, we don't want it, we are not okay, we are not comfortable with your system. And then we got arrested. And you expect the organization I belong to not to protest. Even when I'm in the prison to say, don't protest, it will also not be valid because, one, like I said earlier, Nnamdi Kanu is not someone that should have been under detention for this long while. You want a change administration. I expected that as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took over, the first action he was supposed to take, alongside with other actions he has taken, was as he received and released that of the Yoruba agitator, you also release the Igbo agitator so that you balance the situation. Because all Nnamdi Kanu is talking about, all that he's saying, it's obvious that the government doesn't mean well for us. I am also saying that the government doesn't mean well for us.
Okay, are you trying to say that Nnamdi Kanu agitated rightly and then he got arrested unlawfully and then he should be released because other tribal agitators have been released?
It has really not been a good aspect for Nigeria government to always go after those that want to speak against a particular policy or a decision being carried out by a certain government because you feel that everybody must be on your page as a government. It's totally wrong. You have people that must say, enough, what you're doing is bad. Somebody must come out. We have agitators. It's over the world. Now, so if you want to arrest Nnamdi Kanu, or you have arrested him, now you arrested him because he said that your government or this particular government is not okay. So Nnamdi Kanu staying in the prison as a starting to work, it doesn't work.
Give me a minute. Let me cut you short here. I know, yes, the Igbos, they are agitating for their rights, for reasons best known to them. We understand. But in as much as you want to agitate for your rights, that is why I call this to your attention. These people have been taking lives. They have been killing innocent people. They have been destroying properties. They have been destroying lots of things. People can no longer travel. Like you said, you wanted to travel, but the driver said, let's take a different route, which is not supposed to be. And I'm sure that was a longer route for you. It is no longer a comfortable thing. You know, I don't know what agitation this is, what results they want to achieve, but I am trying to say here, even in as much as you want to agitate for your rights, there are better means to go about it. You are talking about you agitating and all of that, administration not working out for you. If you want something right, if you want something done right, you go the right way. You cannot want the government to pay attention to you when you are not doing it right.
Now,
you get. So now my question is, these suspects that have been arrested, I'm going to ask you a question. The suspects that have been arrested, do you think that this arrest will curb the sit-at-home order in the state? In the South, it's not just Anambra State.
Well, I think the arrest of these other suspects currently under police detention will not stop the sit-at-home order, because they are not just the only one enforcing the sit-at-home order. Instead, it will also increase it, or also create or demand for more agitations. Totally, I condemned the aspect of them trying to be violent in a way of trying to address a very, very genuine cause. They are on a genuine cause. They are on a very good cause.
What is a genuine cause?
The genuine cause is a one. You cannot arrest a man that is agitating for the welfare or the survival of his people.
How are you sure that this agitation coming from Nnamdi Kanu is for the welfare of the people?
Now, it is obvious at the moment. It is obvious, even though you don't want to say it because of your position. But it's also obvious that as we speak, if you are not facing it in this studio, I'm quite sure that you are also not happy with the current hardship.
I take exception to that. I have rights to my thoughts.
No, I'm not.
Yes, I have a right to my thoughts.
That's what I'm saying. That I am aware that you will not want to admit it. Yeah, I am aware. And I also know that you will not want to accept it. But I am also aware that you are also facing hardship. The same way I am facing hardship. The same way every Nigerian
are you trying to say, in as much as there is hardship, let me cut you short. In as much as there is hardship in the country,
what I'm saying is that,
does it mean that the present administration is not doing something towards it? Because we have had situations where he has implemented the use of agriculture. You know, he has said, okay, let's venture into agriculture. Yes, he removed subsidy, and that's one of the things that affected the country. Yes, we know that. He has brought, I'm not trying to support him, but I'm trying to say that in as much as there is hardship, it should not be a means to get into violence. Violence is not the way out of it.
I am not encouraging violence.
Okay, thank you very much.
I said
well, we have to move forward.
No, but let me just land now. You don't want to...
You've actually said your thoughts. You are not encouraging violence.
I have other things to support to let me just say what I want to say in addition to what I've said.
Okay, quickly.
Not because I said the one that is comfortable with you want to end me.
Thank you,
quickly. No, I think in as much as I am not in support of violence, but that doesn't mean, even in the Bible, it's scriptural, it's biblical, that the kingdom of God suffered violence. And the violence took it by force. So if the government, as we speak right now, there will come a time, or there will be a time, when all of us will be on the street. And then one will be on the street, will also be on the street to say enough is enough for this level of action.
That is what we call peaceful protest. But I have to cut you short there. We have to move forward. Thank you very much, Oscar. And we have in Ebonyi State, that the Ebonyi State Governor Francis Nwefuru has suspended the state's Commissioner for Health, Dr. Moses Ikuma, and his Housing and Urban Development counterpart, Francis Ori. Correspondents gathered that they were suspended on Monday during the state's Executive Council meeting in Abakaliki, the state's capital. The statement issued by the Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, Jude Opo, which was cited by our correspondents on Tuesday morning, read, following cases of gross misconduct and dereliction of duties by some government officials and matters related thereto, the chairman of council directed the indefinite suspension of the Honorable Commissioner for Housing and Urban Development and 3-month suspension of the Honorable Commissioner for Health, respectively. This new development may be connected to the alleged theft of pieces of properties belonging to the Ministry of Health by its official and the reported underperformance of the Housing and Urban Development Commissioner and his shoddy handling of the Amaze housing scheme in the ECA local government area of the state. Recall that the government was in the Health Ministry premises on Saturday night and met a scene where 6 officials were caught allegedly diverting government materials. He therefore ordered their arrest and eventual persecution. You were just talking about the kingdom of God suffering violence and all of that, whatnot. and I'm not trying to go back and forth on this. This commissioners have been suspended allegedly over further highlighted questionable procurement practices. 243 vehicles were purchased for 27 million naira in May 2023 without a competitive bidding process, and the vehicles were unavailable for physical verification. Another 500 million naira was reportedly spent on 20 tires without proper documentation or verification. This is a lot of money, and this is supposed to be for the State Universal Basic Education Board in Niger State. There has been a misappropriation of funds. We were just talking about the state's commissioners for Ebonyi states that were suspended due to allegedly criminal activity, and then we have here of the state's board that misappropriated funds that were meant for education. What is your thoughts on this, please?
What is going on in Niger State is practical in all the 36 states in Nigeria. It's not peculiar to Niger State. Niger State might be in the news today because it happens to be the leading aspect that are trying to expose their ordeals. But in every other state we have in this part of the world, it is not exceptional case because that's what we have. It is also very obvious that government officials are also kind of there to just embezzle and embezzle. And this whole thing is because we have been saying it and we keep on campaigning. We are still going to start it. It's also in one of our own personal terms and conditions or objectives that before election we embark on the reorientation programs while we go to street, go to communities and campaign for people not to collect money to vote any particular candidate. And also once a situation whereby there will be an action that will be taken on those that use money to buy votes. Because some of these challenges is because we now have a government that any person that is coming to government seems it is his own turn to achieve and his own turn to loot. Oh boy, if you don't do them now, you don't go do them again. No. It is your turn to loot. So they are not saying like it is a call for service. Until Nigerians see like it is a call for service, until Nigerians see it like, okay, you have been appointed or you are in government because you have the opportunity to make a certain change. Because it is said that change begins with you. So if change begins with you, it is also a very, very serious situation that our politicians should not be seen to be getting into power because they want to achieve. And then the monitoring team and then the other processes that are supposed to be embarked on. Do government actually respect constituted authority? Do they respect the process for actually making approvals? It's not happening. In most of the ministries we have, most of the ministries in other states we have, government officials also use opportunity as a means or process of looting.
Okay,
so it becomes a very challenging
how does this misappropriation of education fund affect the states and education?
It's obvious that as we speak, education is one background that nobody should play with. Unfortunately, we don't have priority in Nigeria. And that's why I believe in the statement of Bishop Hansan Kuka. And when I actually have an opportunity of meeting with Bishop Hansan Kuka how many years ago, and one of those things I learned and I also heard, even from his recent statement, it's obvious that we do not prioritize governance, rather we prioritize politics. Because you know very well that there are sectors you cannot play with. The educational sector is not a sector that any politician should come out to play with. And then you don't actually have to use the process of applying for educational materials and then or vehicles or whatever will actually improve the life of the educational sector. And then you use the opportunity to apply for those resources for your personal gain. It's obvious. It's not common to Niger State. Niger, like I said, Niger State might be in the news right now, but it's not particular or peculiar to Niger State. Even in the villa, it's going on in the villa. Even under Tinubu administration, in the villa, it's also going on. So it is something that we must fight from the bottom.
So what should be done? What should be done? What is the way forward?
What is the duty of the EFCC? That's why the EFCC, the ICPC, what is their duty? It's unfortunate that we sit down and be discussing what we know what to do, and then we are not doing it. And then people will just set up a committee. The next thing you're going to see that is a committee will be set up. And that committee will see, and the people that emerged as members of that committee will see as an opportunity to loot their own, to share their own money. They'll now ask, oh, how much will remain? I better give our own so no go expose you. You know, say this matter don't be like this. It has been the case. Because even the committee that may likely be set up, or those persons that will come out to to actually want to investigate the matter, we also want their own share of the money. And we don't want the money to be exposed or the money to be returned back to government pockets or treasury account. It's quite unfortunate that the EFCC is not living up to expectation. SCPC is not living up to expectation. Even the DSS that was supposed to live up to expectation, because they are saddled with this secret investigative information. So even the DSS are supposed to investigate matters like this in their own private way.
Well, we've had cases where the EFCC, like we talked about the Yaya Bello case, the EFCC have come in to, you know, find sort out a situation of the funds that he diverted allegedly, you know. So it's not like the EFCC has not been playing their role. Probably there has been cases where they have not been getting it right. Or are you trying to say that the EFCC have not gotten it right, or they are not in any way doing what they're supposed to do?
The challenge we have is that we have to think of how our institutions will be strengthened. Our institutions can be independent as they ought to be. Unfortunately, our institutions are not independent. Like the police is not independent, the EFCC is not independent, ICPC is not independent, DSS is not in short.
So what's the reason for all of this? Why are they not independent? Why are they not?
Because the process of them, just like as we speak right now, the process of getting into such position becomes the priority of Mr. President. So until it is well defined, it is well defined that you must actually have a situation whereby your growth is no longer, it shouldn't be an appointment position. You should grow into the position. If you want to be an IG, it should be someone that has actually come from the process. And you actually earn the right or earn that position of becoming the IG. You want to be the chief of family staff, you want to be this, and there is no opportunity given to the president to give an automatic suspension or retirement to other service chiefs. These are becoming the major setback that we are having. So if the EFCC and ICPC can decide to operate as an institution, independent institution, where they won't be taking directive from Mr. President, they won't be taking directive from whoever, and then they will be taking directive strictly based on the action and the crime that is against or before them, it will be a better one. But then, until we get it right, it will never be the case, because as we speak, just like the case of the Delta State Governor, Ifeanyi Okowa, if I'm not mistaken, that is undergoing some level of EFCC cases. And then at the same time, what did he say? He said his action or the arrest is politically motivated. That's what he said, because it's obvious that once you are not on the side of a certain government, that becomes your case. And I quote again, like I said earlier before, that it's more like the case, or reminding us of the statement of Adam Oshomole. Adam Oshomole said, if you come to APC, your sins are forgiven. Means that if you have looted government money, if you have looted all the money that is supposed to be given to Nigerians, what
is your thoughts? I mean, what is your thoughts about backing what he said? Are you trying to say that it's a political thing to loot money?
That's what I'm saying. Is it becomes it's only to a reality at this point in time, because now Adam Oshomole made that statement, and at this point, if you are not part of a particular government, EFCC should go after you.
Okay, so it's no longer about a political thing. The agencies for crime should do what is needful. It shouldn't be a biased situation.
They shouldn't.
Well, it shouldn't be a sentimental situation.
It shouldn't be based on political sentiment.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a directive of Mr. President. Just like we have the judiciary losing its glory.
Do you think that I don't want us to divide? I don't want us to move out of the story or topic of discussion, but this bodies like the EFCC and DSS, like you mentioned, most of the times they do their investigation on their own independently. So I don't know how that correlates with coming from the president.
If DSS should want to be honest to themselves, if the EFCC, if ICPC, if the police wants to be very honest to themselves, even the current president of this Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will also not be the president, because of the financial or the level of allegations.
I would not want us to divert.
No, but that is the truth.
He was elected as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But we have to move forward. Thank you very much. We have the Nigerian soldiers battling insurgents in the northeast have lamented the military authorities' decisions to keep them in the war front beyond the official stated time. According to them, they have spent over 6 consecutive years at the war front in the fight against the terror groups. The soldiers, who spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of victimization, lamented that they had stayed beyond their regular period of deployment and employed their superiors to adhere to the routine troop rotation. They said that their overstay in the theater war has caused a dip in morale, adding that their wives are now unfaithful in marriage. According to them, most of their partners now involved in illicit sexual relationships with fellow colleagues in army barracks and civilians. We, soldiers of 141 billion naira attached to 144 billion naira Madagali, about 15 of us have spent more than 6 years in the northeast operation. Soldiers who came after us having changed, but we're still here. Sadly, our colleagues who were rotated back to the barracks to tell our families that we were the ones who refused to be rotated. Please help us. How our wives have started misbehaving because of lies that they were told that we don't want to come back intentionally. They are no more faithful and are having extramarital affairs with our colleagues and civilians. Some have lost control of their families totally, while some have been divorced by their partners following their long stay here. Without sentiments and with honesty and with intentional use of words, if you're that here, thank you. I would love you to tell me your thoughts about this.
I feel so sad and I feel so bad because I know what they're facing. I applied for 61 regular course in Nigeria Defense Academy.
Okay. I
also applied for 62 regular course in Nigeria Defense Academy. I wrote my entrance exam, my first entrance exam, 61 regular course at Borokri, Naval Base in Port Harcourt, River State. I wrote the 62 regular course at the golf club, NDA Golf Club, Kaduna, NDA Kaduna, and I actually was one of those persons that has interest in being into the Nigeria military. I tried the best I can, but I thank God on his own never wanted me to be a military man because I tried all I can. I followed it up. I did everything I can. I was close to admission because why I said I was close to admission because the person that sat beside me at a golf club at the golf club exam center where I sat for my entrance exam. The person that sat beside me is now is a senior ranking officer now in Nigeria Defense Academy. But me, that actually helped him to secure his so-called did not get it. So I think then later, I also went to apply for a cadet officer in DSS. I applied, and I was also helped by some other service chiefs to also get as a DSS operative officer. But unfortunately, I still did not get it, even with the backup that I have, even with all the calls and all the contact that was calling to push me to get it. There was this challenge at the front. So at that point, I just decided to ignore the whole process. But like I said, I think God has a way of always looking into our situation. But fortunately or unfortunately, I want to sympathize with our military brothers. I want to sincerely sympathize with them. The high level of corruption in the military is even beyond Nigeria government. It's so much that it's so sad. Most times when I go to the barracks, especially the army headquarters in Abuja and then the army headquarters in Port Harcourt, and see some fine ladies, I feel bad and I feel sad because unfortunately in the military you can't actually speak for your right. And that's why they need people like us, because we are the ones to speak for them. And now that they've opened up and come out to say enough is enough, then I think Nigerians should look into their situation. The government of this particular system should look into the situation and then think of how they can be able to make the life of a security operative better. We look down so much on security and we look down so much on security operative, but then I also want to blame them away for also allowing us to look down on them because of the way they have carried themselves. A lot of security operative or officers or personnel are not professional. And it happened because our government prioritized, like I keep saying, politics beyond professionalism. If our government is interested in professionalism and interested in our officers or personnel...
Sorry to cut you short, Oscar. If they weren't professionals, why do you think the soldiers have been kept at the war front for 6 years.
No, but if you listen to what the soldiers are also saying, that the people that came after them have also gone back.
Okay.
Now, that's to tell you the high level of politics in the business. That's to tell you the high level of corruption. I tell you, and I'll say it boldly, I can say it anywhere, that the level of corruption in the military is on the high side. In short, the level of corruption amongst our security personnel is on the high side. And inside corruption is even beyond politics. And that is a very sad one. I expect our political system to be thorough, transparent, and professional, and not to play this kind of politics that are playing in the military. It's so much that is bad. If you are a fine lady, you get into the military, your husband is a soldier or a recruit. Sorry, your husband will get you. That one are true. See, I am saying it obviously, and it's very, very clear. If you are a soldier and you marry a fine, in short, if I was a soldier, I would not marry a fine woman.
So let's not divert, Oscar. Thank you very much. I don't know how that's a personal one, anyways, and I don't know how that correlates.
No, but I'm telling the truth now. No, see,
most of these soldiers actually have beautiful women.
I am not saying they don't.
Okay.
I am saying I have come across. Just last 4 months ago, I think I was in the Army headquarters, Abuja, and I can tell you very well that I saw a lot of cute ladies, beautiful ladies.
Okay,
and I'm saying
what do you think?
And I'm saying that if their husbands are soldiers, sorry for them. If their husbands are just corporal, sorry for them.
We got a case where they actually complained. Yes, some of the soldiers, they lamented that most of their wives have been having extramarital affairs.
It is obvious.
Yes, because they have not been available for that long
Even when they are available, it is still happening. Because one,
Oscar, I would love to ask you, how do you think this can be worked on? What do you think the military, the ones in charge, the Army Defense, Chief of Army Defense Staff should do about the situation?
First, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Defense Staff should also first have to be honest and has to be clean first before he can do anything. But if he has to do anything, because I believe in the saying that he who comes to equity comes with clean hands. So for him to even take an action, he has to first check himself that he's very clean, because that's the challenge we're having. With the recent statement they are all making against the hunger protesters, I personally have a serious challenge with them, because the hunger protest was a very good one and they went against it. So they have to come out and be transparent. So it's unfortunate that even though we prefer a solution right now, it will be just a solution that will be here in the studio. You know, oftentimes we've decided not to even bother about profiling solution again, because even when you profile the solution, it's not going down well. That's why I think the best thing right now to do is that the military men that is actually there have done the needful by speaking out. At least let them know that, yes, this is what they are facing. This is what they are doing. And this is what is going on in the military. It's not just in the military, but in all security outfits. This is what is going on. So, and it has to stop. You sleep around with your junior officer because you want promotion. It's wrong. Now, they use that to actually this extramural sex aspect to be intimidating promotion. They'll stop your promotion except you actually allow your wife to go out to have whatever they want to have with your wife. And it becomes a very sad situation. It's a very serious crime. And like I said earlier, the corruption in the military must have to be corrected. Mr. President, that's at all. We have a president that listening. Because unfortunately, we don't have a president.
You've been moving from, so most of the discussions we have, you've been moving from the topic of discussion to the president. We know, yes, according to hierarchy, he is the head. But like you said about the EFCC and the DSS, they are supposed to be independent and do what is right, to play their role as they have been assigned to do. So sometimes the president could give orders and they would decide to play their own orders. Don't you think situations like that arise?
Now, see, as we speak right now, all these institutions are not independent for now. They are still under Mr. President. No matter how we see it, they are still under Mr. President. So I think it is actually a very good one, and it would be a good one if Mr. President should at least take a bold step and then make a statement on this particular issue. Because if the president make a bold step and then make a statement on this particular issue, there will be a reduction, even though it's not totally eradicated. But I'm quite sure that the reduction will be a bit, at least even though it is 100%, it will be 99%, but just 1% that will be removed, because they will still not take the instruction or the statement very serious, because even the president and all of them, they all played in for the president to get into power, and the president still look upon them for him to come back in 2027. So the actions is a very tight one. But then I want to call on those of our brothers and those in government to please, and our high-ranking officers in the military, to please look into the situation of our brothers and sisters that are there suffering, because they also need our attention. They need our love. They not only when they want, not only when they died, that they should be buried in a honest way or in a Nigeria color. No, that's not what they should achieve. They should also live well while they are serving. So it's also expected of them to enjoy their family, to also be part of their family. One of those things that make my mother, although I happen to be the only child of my parents, so one of those things that made my mother not to support, I don't know if it was a prayer that made me not to achieve it, because she told me when I bought the form and gave her the form, and she told me, my only child want to be a military officer, God forbid, it will not work. And that was what she said. So when she made that statement, I said, no, go there. No good. That she said, no, my only child going into the military. And then when she saw one of the...
What was her reason?
She said because there was a column that she was supposed to sign. And that column states that if anything, that if I emerged or if I succeed to be part of it, that I will become government property.
Okay.
And I will no longer be her child. Oh, my only child become government property when she doesn't have another.
Okay.
So it becomes a major challenge that she actually stood against. She didn't open up to me that she will not support it, but I know her prayers actually was for me not to succeed.
Thank you,
and
Oscar.
that's it.
I want to ask you quickly, the soldiers lamented that they have been losing morals. How does their lack of confidence affect the security of the country? Because they are the ones that protect us as it stands at the borders. How does their lack of confidence affect the security of the country? At
this point, they've lost passion about their job. At this point, they're no longer passionate about the purpose why they are where they are right now. Now, what they are passing through now is anger. So it is very difficult for them to even do their job and do it well. So there will be need for them to be withdrawn and sent back to their family as a means of compensation or as a means of appreciating them or listening to their statement, because you have to withdraw that particular troop and then send another troop down to that place. It's actually not a good one and not a professional way to keep a soldier for a particular scene for 6 years. It's totally wrong. It's totally wrong, because at that point they become so friendly, they become so nice to everybody. Everybody there becomes their friend, and they are, or whether you like it or not, why? As they are protecting the civilians are also protecting them. So it's a two-way thing. Security is everybody's business. It's not only because they are military that they are the only person that is in charge of security. Even the internal security are also there to protect them. Because if the internal security are not there to protect them, they also lost grip of their own actions, and it's very much important. So they have overstayed. So I think it's time for the federal government of Nigeria to listen to them and then see how they can be able to allow them to go back to reunite with their family, and then a different troop should be sent back to the disaster center. So because at this point, they can no longer deliver a passionate, they can't deliver again, because they are not there with their mind anymore, even though they are obeying the last instruction or the last order according to the military. But then, they are not obeying the last order in a passionate manner. So allowing them to still be there is totally not going, it's not going to help the situation at all. Okay. So I think they should be called back and then sent back to reunite with their family.
Okay. Thank you very much. And your thoughts? We will go on a quick short break, and when we return, we will continue with our stories. Do stay with us.
Hey, stop it.
from the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
High Court, but also at the Federal High Court in Abuja, where he stands accused of money laundering involved